Hello, everybody. Preston Poulter here with Lords of Iron. Today, we're going to be talking about Pathfinder. I've been a Pathfinder player for almost since the beginning because I was a third edition player. I didn't like fourth edition, and the early ads for Paizo Pathfinder were like 3.5 thrives. It was like, okay, let's thrive over there. I played so much Pathfinder, particularly with like a group that was very oriented towards the most powerful builds. I'm here to say Pathfinder First Edition was a rather broken system, and I became a bit tired of it. But I mean, look, it inherited that from Third Edition, which was a very broken system. Pathfinder Second Edition fixes a lot of those problems. I prefer it. Certainly, like I don't want to sit down and play Pathfinder First Edition. I will sit down and play Pathfinder Second Edition, and I will expect to have a fairly good time. It is a rather large, comprehensive set of rules. I don't find that intimidating because I've been playing it for a while, and I don't mind a lot of rules. But I know for a lot of players, this book is rather off-putting, and that's why the Pathfinder Beginner Box is pretty cool. We've got the Game Master Guide, and I took someone who was absolutely new to the system, just handed him the Game Master Guide and said, all right, why don't you run us an adventure? Because there's a dungeon right there in it. There's a nice fold out map in the box. You spread it out, you turn to the appropriate section, you start reading. Okay, let's head off into darkness and fight some giant rats. It's not hard, it's a lot of fun. So, good on you, Paizo, for putting out a good quality product that's very easy for new players to play. One of the things I noticed in playing with new players with the beginner box comes to character creation. So you really learn the system, and it's just kind of fun. Look, print out a character sheet, grab a pencil, join in. The character creation rules are all right here. They will refer you to the appropriate sections of your character sheet so you won't get lost. If you go to those computer apps, what we've just found a lot of times is they refer players to the Pathfinder big core rulebook system, and they'll show up with like a cat folk summoner or something. I'm like, no, stop. So I wanted to take a couple of minutes for these players and kind of go through how to make a character in the Pathfinder Beginner Box. Now, the character creation rules start on page 12. To a certain extent, I think they're not exactly ideal. Step one, create a character concept. If you're not intimately familiar with the rules, creating a concept, I mean, what? You want to show up as like a time traveling techno necromancer? There's no way in the rules that really support that, okay? So, really, I say your first step needs to be what they have here as step 5, pick a class, okay? There are only 4: cleric, fighter, thief, wizard, going back to the original first edition Dungeons and Dragons, right? Just pick a class. In this system, unlike virtually all the other role playing games I've played, your stats don't come from a point buy system, nor are they dice generated. Instead, your stats are a consequence of the choices you make when it comes to class, ancestry, what prior editions would refer to as race, and your background. In terms of clerics, there are only 3 deities that are available to worship in the Pathfinder Beginner Box. You got Torag for the dwarves, or the dwarf lovers for those of you who don't want to be a dwarven follower of Torag. You just love blacksmithing and crafting. Well, okay. You got Desna for those who are spiritual but not religious, the goddess of luck and dreams, and Serenier if you just want to drop the hammer on evil with a righteous fist. That is the traditional choice of clerics. Then you got your fighter. All of these classes have little sub decisions you need to make. For instance, in fighter or thief, they always limit it down to about 3 choices. Just read through them. They're described in a paragraph or two and go, okay, I think I like that. And it'll just guide you through the sheet. Okay, go here. Your abilities give certain ability boosts. Just write it all down. Then you got your ancestry. You got dwarves, you got elves, you got humans. 3 choices. Fewer than were available in first edition Dungeons and Dragons, but each of those choices has sub choices, right? Okay, humans, you got 3 different varieties of those. Dwarves, 3 different, elves. Says, go read through it. All your dwarves have dark vision. All your elves have low light vision. All your humans have none of that, but are kind of versatile in where they can put their bonus stat. Just pick what you like. You don't got to sit and worry too much about like the optimal build. Just forget all that nonsense. Just choose what you like, go through the steps, record it all down on your character sheet. It's easy peasy, It's a lot of fun. And then the last one is pick your background. Backgrounds are on page 18 and 19. There are only 7. They're where a lot of your flavor is going to come in terms of like, what did you used to do before you were an adventurer? All of these will have one last ability boost. They're going to give you access to a lore skill that's related to that background, as well as another skill like thievery if you happen to be a criminal, for instance. Just pick a background, note on your character sheet all the different benefits with it, and then you're done. All you got to do is pick your gear, and in the beginner box, your gear is basically pre-selected. Go over to page 40, 41. There are all the classes and all the gear right there. You just go, okay, a fighter. You just write down all the gear, and you'll have, a few gold left over. You can either buy some extra gear with that or just start the adventure with some money in your pocket. It's not that hard, folks. I really think you're cheating yourself by trying to use these virtual apps. Just embrace pencil and paper in a world where Wizards of the Coast is taking Dungeons and Dragons off in an increasingly virtual tabletop direction. There's going to be a growing divide between those who experience role playing games through a virtual setting versus those who are actually getting together in real space. And let's face it, pencil and paper is the language we should be speaking. This has been Preston Poulter with Lords of Iron. Thank you all so much for your time, everyone. Take care.